I want you to imagine just for a second that you're stepping out of the bitter, freezing cold of a Rhode Island night.
Oh, that damp coastal winter cold. It just goes right to your bones.
Right, exactly. So it's the winter of 1950. You brush the snow off your heavy wool coat, you turn the knob of this unassuming door, and suddenly you are inside this hidden theatrical sanctuary.
Which is such a contrast to the outside world.
Completely. I mean, the air smells heavily of hot percolated coffee, cigar smoke, and theatrical grease paint.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in one corner, you've got this rugged, off-duty fire captain doing impossible gravity-defying things with a deck of playing cards. And then in another corner, there's this grandfatherly figure pulling an endless stream of, like, colorful silk scarves and solid glass spheres out of a completely empty metal cylinder.
It's just a striking sensory image, isn't it? I mean, we so often think of mid-century America as this era of, rigid conformity.
Yeah, the whole man in the gray flannel suit vibe.
Exactly. But beneath that veneer, there was this very real, very vibrant subculture of eccentric performance art tucked away in neighborhoods all across the country.
Which brings us to today. Welcome to a brand new deep dive. Today, we're exploring a really fascinating stack of archival excerpts from the Linking Ring magazine.
Specifically spanning late 1949 through 1950.
Right. And our mission today, we're zooming in on one specific, highly dedicated chapter of Magicians, Ring 44.
Also known as the William E. Baker Ring.
Yep, based out of North Providence, Rhode Island. So, okay, let's unpack this, because we aren't just looking at people doing standard parlor tricks here.
No.
We're looking at a wildly eccentric, intensely loyal community of local creatives, and they're using secrecy as their primary social currency.
And that's what's so compelling. When we dissect these archives, we aren't just reading, like, dry meeting minutes. We're actually examining the social and psychological fabric of a highly specialized community.
Right.
And to really understand Ring 44, you have to understand the physical mechanics of their home base, because they avoided renting a generic municipal hall.
Thank goodness, because those are always so sterile.
Exactly. They met at Baker's Miniature Theater on Observatory Avenue. It was a space run by members Bill Baker and his wife.
Just the name alone, Miniature Theater, I mean, it tells you they were treating this as a true discipline, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They had very rigid structure to their meetings, which were on the second Friday of the month. They'd blast through the regular business, like nominating officers or voting in new members. Like they voted in Mrs. Virginia Kingsford.
They did the bureaucracy out of the way.
Yep. And then immediately transition into a robust, multi-act magic show. And afterwards, they had these late-night luncheons whipped up by Mrs. Baker and another member known as Mystic Stubbs.
Mystic Stubbs. What a name.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating here is the psychological function of that specific space. Baker's Miniature Theater wasn't just a room. It was a controlled environment.
Meaning they could rig it up however they wanted.
Precisely. It offered stage lighting, proper sight lines, and likely, trapdoors or hidden compartments built into the very architecture.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It was a laboratory. A place where individuals with demanding blue-collar day jobs could basically shed their mundane identities and step into a highly polished persona.
It actually reminds me of an early Silicon Valley hacker house.
Oh, I like that comparison. How so?
Well, in a modern hacker house, someone leaves a piece of raw code on a whiteboard,
Right.
And then 3 other people refine it overnight because the environment encourages this iterative collaboration.
Ah, I see.
Baker's Theater functioned the exact same way, just with physical mechanics. One guy figures out a new way to palm a coin, another guy adds a psychological misdirection beat to it, and the trick evolves. The space allows for repeated failure among trusted peers.
That is an incredibly apt comparison.
Wow.
But as with any controlled laboratory, external variables inevitably intrude.
Right, real life gets in the way.
Sadly, yes. In early 1950, the club's president at the time, Ira Duckett, is rushed to the hospital with a severe undiagnosed ailment.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and almost simultaneously, Bill Baker suffers a severe health decline. It forces him and Mrs. Baker to pack up and retreat down to Florida, just hoping the warmer climate will save his life.
So they lose the theater.
Exactly. The club loses its physical anchor. They're displaced to the Sheraton Biltmore Hotel for their temporary meetings.
Which, if you think about it, is a massive performance challenge.
Oh, entirely.
When you strip away the intimate, custom-built theater, the illusion only survives if the performer's sheer charisma can overpower a sterile room. I mean, in a commercial hotel room, the angles are terrible, the lighting is fluorescent, and the audience is essentially sitting on top of you.
You don't have the luxury of shadows or distance.
Right. You can't rely on hidden stage traps. To hold an audience in that environment, you need an overwhelming physical presence. You need someone who commands a room just by breathing.
You need a performer who is physically and psychologically unbreakable.
Yeah.
And thankfully for Ring 44, they had a member who fit that exact description.
Oh, my favorite guy in the whole archive. Captain Arthur Alexander Aloysius Allman.
A man of 4As.
Yes. His origin story just leaps off the archival pages. He was born in Digby, Nova Scotia in 1873 and migrates to Woonsocket, Rhode Island as a boy.
And he gets into magic pretty early.
Very early. At age 10, he watches this street pitchman performing an exhibition of card magic. He buys a set of color-changing cards and a little booklet, and he is hooked. By 14, he's performing his first public show at St. Charles Church.
It's the classic initiation narrative into the magical arts. But it's the biomechanics of his life that really set him apart. Let's look at his nickname, Slippery Slick.
Which sounds like a mobster name, honestly.
It does. And while it certainly implies a mastery of sleight of hand, the origins of the name are entirely physical.
Yeah, he got the name Slippery because none of his schoolmates could maintain a hold on him in wrestling matches.
It wasn't just when he was a kid. The archives note that even well into his adulthood, it was widely accepted that nobody but a heavyweight professional wrestler could actually pin him down.
Which makes sense when you look at his career.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to look at the post-war industrial socioeconomic climate of Rhode Island. Men engaged in heavy physical labor.
And he was no exception.
For 31 years, Arthur Allman was a member of the Pawtucket Fire Department, eventually becoming the captain of Hose 5.
Wow.
And before that, he was an iron molder, and he also did intricate stained glass window work. Just think about the unique musculature that develops from that specific combination of jobs.
Wait, okay, here's where it's really interesting to me. Is Slippery Slick basically a mid-century comic book hero?
I mean, he's definitely got the resume for it.
Right. Think about the specific physical conditioning. Iron molding and firefighting require massive brute force grip strength.
Absolutely.
But then, stained glass artistry requires microscopic, delicate, fine motor skills. He essentially spent decades perfectly conditioning his hands to perform elite card manipulation. Was that kind of multidisciplinary mastery common back then?
It was rare to have that specific of a combination, but it explains so much about his skill level. His hands were incredibly powerful, yet capable of extreme delicacy.
And he kept himself in insane shape, too.
He did. He maintained a full gymnasium just outside his quarters at the fire station. He was known for beating men decades younger down the brass pole.
No way.
Yes. At a club outing, well into his 70s, he won a foot race against a dozen men ranging in age from 10 to 30.
In his 70s?
In his 70s. The discipline required for his day jobs translated directly into the rigorous, repetitive physical discipline required for sleight of hand.
That is just wild. But as rugged as he was, his real legacy in Ring 44 was his mind.
Oh, without a doubt.
He didn't just do card tricks. He performed heavy cognitive feats. By magical coincidence with his 4As, his favorite routines involved the 4 aces.
He developed 21 distinct, separate routines using just those 4 cards.
That takes so much creativity. But he was also a master of magic squares.
Right. And for those unfamiliar, a magic square is a mathematical grid, usually 4 by 4, where every row, column, and diagonal adds up to the exact same number.
Which sounds hard enough on paper.
Exactly. But the theatrical twist is that the audience randomly selects the target number live.
Oh, wow.
So performing this means doing rapid-fire, complex mental arithmetic in front of a live crowd while simultaneously maintaining a charismatic, relaxed patter to entertain them.
That's an immense cognitive load.
It really is.
The guy just never stopped pushing his brain or his body. Because he used to be a juggler in the early days of vaudeville, he even taught high school majorettes in Rhode Island the incredibly difficult finger-twirling baton method.
He was a true Renaissance man.
He was. He also crafted this custom, beautiful lucite magic wand engraved with a snake just to give to Ira Duckett when Duckett finished his term as president.
Which just shows the level of craftsmanship he possessed. And, you know, Slippery Slick set a remarkably high bar, but he wasn't an anomaly within Ring 44.
Really? There were others pushing it that far.
Oh, absolutely. The entire club was actively pushing the boundaries of what local performance art could be. They were shifting away from simple puzzle-solving tricks and moving toward immersive theater and really sensory overload.
Okay, let's talk about how they stretched the audience's suspension of disbelief, because it goes in two wildly different directions with this club. First, you have C. Foster Fenner.
Ah, yes, Fenner.
He was known for producing a massive glass of beer completely barehanded right on stage, which I would love to see, but his masterpiece was the floating ball act.
And the floating ball requires an immense amount of stagecraft. Fenner utilized a theatrical narrative of hypnosis.
Ooh, spooky.
Very. He would have his wife, Pansy, act as his assistant. The routine featured a beautiful treasure chest, and under Fenner's so-called hypnotic influence, Pansy would hold the chest, the lid would open seemingly by itself, and a silver sphere would float out, navigate the stage, and return to the chest.
That sounds beautiful.
It was. He was likely adapting techniques popularized by magicians like Okido, but he enhanced it using elaborate props, specifically a Conradi stand.
And we should probably clarify what a Conradi stand is, because it sounds like a simple table, but it's really a mechanical weapon.
It is a brilliant piece of engineering.
It's a specialized, highly deceptive side table. It uses geometric patterns, metallic fringe, or black velvet to completely hide its true thickness.
Right, it looks flimsy, but it's not.
Exactly. It contains hidden wells or secret shelves called servantes on the back. It allows a magician to secretly ditch a heavy object or steal a new one while the audience thinks they're just looking at this innocent, skinny table.
It allows the performer to do the dirty work in plain sight. Fenner used these subtle mechanics to create a slow, hypnotic drama. But then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have Art Clark.
Who went by the stage name Clark.
Clark, yes.
Clark is pure manic chaos. I mean, the archives describe his act as a frantic 15-minute speed routine.
And nonstop energy.
Right. He's vanishing bowls of water, he's producing bouquets of flowers out of thin air, and his grand finale, he literally bakes a cake on stage, and out of the cake pops 2 live kittens.
A classic.
When I read that, it felt almost like vaudeville desperately trying to survive in a post-war world by becoming more and more absurd. But seriously, how do you bake live kittens without hurting them?
Well, it's an adaptation of the classic dove pan illusion.
Yeah.
It relies on a brilliantly engineered, double-chambered prop. So the audience sees a shallow metal pan.
Okay.
The magician pours in flour, sugar, perhaps an egg, and then drops in a match to ignite a flash of fire.
Which sounds terrifying for the poor kittens.
It looks alarming, certainly, but he quickly clamps a heavy lid down to extinguish the flames.
But the lid is gimmicked.
Exactly. The lid secretly contains a hidden upper compartment where the kittens are safely stowed.
Oh, I see.
When the lid is clamped down onto the pan, the fire instantly consumes the oxygen and dies out in a fraction of a second, so there is no heat danger.
That's a relief.
Simultaneously, a mechanical catch releases. So when the magician lifts the lid by the handle, the outer shell comes up, but the hidden compartment stays locked to the base of the pan. The raw ingredients are perfectly hidden underneath, and the kittens are revealed completely unharmed.
It is an incredible piece of mechanical engineering meant to cause total sensory shock.
It really is.
And amidst all this hypnotic drama from Fenner and kitten baking speed from Clark, you have John Freites.
The club's comical MC.
Yes. She went by the nickname Molotov. And he told everyone his middle initials were NB. And when people inevitably asked what NB stood for, his deadpan punchline was always, nobody's business.
It is peak 1950s dad humor.
It really is.
But, you know, it served a vital function. The empty acts as the psychological palate cleanser. If you only have high drama and manic speed, the audience becomes exhausted.
They need a break.
Precisely. Freites grounded the room. He manipulated the tension, allowing the audience to relax so the next performer could wind them back up again.
So they're really crafting complete immersive experiences. They're putting on a deeply structured show.
Absolutely.
But let me push back on this idyllic picture for a minute.
Okay, go for it.
You get all these highly creative, eccentric men in one room. You've got giant egos. You've got a room full of guys who make their living or at least build their entire social identities on knowing things other people don't.
Right.
Magic is an art form literally built on information, asymmetry, and deception. How did they actually function as a group without tearing each other apart over stolen acts or exposed secrets?
It's a great point, and this raises an important question about the nature of magical societies in general. Historically, magicians are notoriously paranoid about theft.
Understandably.
But Ring 44 deliberately engineered a culture that fought against that tendency. Much of the credit for this structural harmony goes to their scribe, Herb Lamond.
The guy writing the reports.
Yes, he used his position writing the monthly reports for the Linking Ring magazine to actively enforce a narrative of unity.
Wait, but just having a scribe write nice things in a magazine doesn't erase human nature. I mean, it's not a magical spell for world peace. How did Lamond actually enforce that harmony? Did they have strict rules, or was it like a mafia-style omerta where if you stole a trick, you were out?
It wasn't enforced through punitive rules. It was actually enforced through shared vulnerability and deliberate structural diplomacy. Lamond and the club's leadership actively organized joint events with groups that could easily have become bitter rivals.
Keep your friends close. Keep your potential rivals closer.
Something like that. For example, the SAM, the Society of American Magicians, had an assembly in the same region, Assembly Number 26.
Which, ironically, was named the C. Foster Fenner Assembly after one of Ring 44's own prominent members. The cross-pollination there is just wild.
It is. And in July of 1950, Ring 44 deliberately held a massive joint summer outing with the SAM.
Okay, what did they do?
Well, the archives describe it as a day filled with foot races, games, and impromptu magic shows. Lamond wrote in his report that their specific goal was to prove that harmony and goodwill instead of jealousy and bickering should and can prevail among magicians and magic groups.
So what does this all mean, really? How did they manage to trade the currency of secrets without going bankrupt on jealousy?
By redefining the value of the secret, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the true value of Ring 44 wasn't actually the mechanics of the dove pan or the Conradi stand.
It wasn't about the tricks.
No, the magic tricks were simply the excuse to gather. Think about the minutes of those meetings. Yes, they document who performed what card sleight, but they spent just as much time documenting Mrs. Baker's sickness.
Right.
They record Ira Duckett being rushed to the hospital. They talk about family vacations and members passing away and shared meals. They use the sharing of a magical secret as an act of trust. That trust was the glue that formed a true brotherhood. They weren't just sharing tricks. They were sharing life's ups and downs in a profound way.
When you synthesize all of this, Ring 44 wasn't just a meeting of casual hobbyists playing with trick coins in a basement. It was this incredibly vibrant tapestry of post-war life.
Beautifully put.
I mean, you have firefighting card sharks like Slippery Slick using wrestling biomechanics to manipulate playing cards. You have dedicated couples like the Bakers and the Fenners turning a local building into a custom theatrical laboratory.
You have theatrical risk-takers baking kittens into cakes.
Exactly. They literally constructed their own magical world in Rhode Island to escape the industrial grind.
They absolutely did. They built a sanctuary where they could be their most authentic, creative selves, supported entirely by people who understood the physical and mental dedication required for their obsession.
Which leaves me with a thought I can't quite shake, especially for you listening to this deep dive right now. We live in a modern digital era where information is completely frictionless.
You can find anything in seconds.
Right. If you want to know the secret to the floating ball or the dove pan today, you don't have to pledge loyalty to a club. You don't have to practice for years to earn the trust of a mentor. You just type it into a video search and an instant tutorial pops up.
It's all right there.
But in gaining that instant access, have we lost the true magic of the local club?
It is the ultimate paradox of the information age. When the secret is free, it loses its value as a social bonding agent.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, was the act of guarding the secret in 1950 actually the very mechanism that forced these men and women to build such deep, lasting, and intimate communities?
I think you might be onto something.
Maybe the secret wasn't the trick at all. Maybe the secret was that you had to show up, step out of that freezing Rhode Island weather, open the heavy door to the miniature theater, and actually earn your connection with the people inside. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Ring 44. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and we'll catch you on the next one.